Good morning. It's Friday, February 7th. And right now in this country, there are 2 million people who are being forced to make a decision about early retirement. And this was caused by Elon Musk and Donald Trump's idea that they needed to thin out the government employee ranks to make the government more efficient. Now, I have no doubt that part of that is somewhat true, that there are probably some areas within the government that over the years have become somewhat overcrowded with people or something like that. But when somebody is asking people to retire and you haven't had a lot of time to consider that, I want to tell you some 10 things that nobody really tells you about early retirement. So one of the things you have to realize immediately is that healthcare is extremely expensive. Medicare, the federal program that provides healthcare coverage for more than 65 million older Americans, doesn't start until you're 65 years old. So if you retire early and you're not 65 years old, you've got to consider the cost of medical health care. And that is very, very expensive. So that's the first thing. And then if you have a nest egg, if you're fortunate to have a nest egg, what happens if you start removing money from it too early? Let's say you're only 59 years old and you have to take about 10% out of your nest egg per each year. Well, if you're 59, in 10 years you'll be 69, and you could have another 20 years to live after that. So you have to be very careful about your money management scheme when you retire early. Now, I was fortunate enough, I didn't have to think about all of these things, and I had a great job. So I worked well into my 70s. And then, if you start taking money out, you're reducing the amount of money that you could collect your compound interest on. So that could be a significant amount of money. If you put away $250 a month, that's $3,000 a year. But if you can't put that away anymore, then you're looking at reducing your nest egg further. And what happens if you end up with a really, really long life ahead of you? Because if you retire at 55, you could live another 30 or 40 years. Do you have enough money put away to live another 30 or 40 years? So if you are in this situation, you should consider taking this retirement package perhaps and getting another job. And then you'll have a great combination. Even if you have a part-time job, that could help considerably. And then, of course, if you spend more money than you think you're going to spend, you'll get in big trouble, because we all have a set lifestyle that we want to maintain somehow. And if you retire early, you may not be able to maintain that lifestyle. So the J.P. Morgan Asset Management study found that many people have a tendency to splurge to splurge when they are newly retired. They say, well, I'm getting out of this thing. Maybe I'll take a quick vacation or I'll go visit some relatives. You have to be careful about that kind of thinking. And then, of course, your expenses do not retire when you retire. Your housing expense is still the same. If you're fortunate, like I was very fortunate that I was able to close my mortgage long before it ran out. So I didn't pay a lot of money for rent. But how many of you are in that position? So your housing expenses and those other expenses don't retire when you retire. And if you want to find a way to make extra income, you have to have a particular skill set. So if you don't have that, maybe one of the things you consider if you're taking early retirement is spending a year at college and increasing your experience in some area that you know you can make some money on in your retirement. So think about that also. And then here's a big fact. You have lots of time to kill. I'm sitting here telling you these things, and what I am telling you is my method of killing time. And it has been great for me because these rants take up most of my morning to prepare. So killing time is something that I know a lot about. And then, of course, if you retire and your friends are still working, you need to make new friends. That's not easy for a lot of people. And then retirement can be tough on couples. One retires and the other is still working. So that may not work well in your situation. So you have to consider all of these things and don't make any mistakes. Mistakes are very costly. They're costly in money and they're costly in temperament and lifestyle and looking forward into the future. You can get very confused if you make a mistake. So I leave you with that this morning. If you're going to retire, have a great one. Be planned, make it well planned, and do whatever you can that's going to make you happy. Have a great day. Bye.